We just have to say win with dice, the roundest table, and our names. Like
Sure. All right, I'm gonna start. I'll do a countdown, and then we're good to go. Are you ready?
wait. Okay. Okay. Cool. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to the Roundest Table, a gaming discussion podcast brought to you by WinWithDice. I am joined by Deanna. Say hello.
Hello.
And Ramon.
Hey, how's it going?
And I'm Calvin, and I'll be bringing up the discussion topic for this particular episode. We wanted to talk about more tabletop stuff, more tabletop gaming topics, and so what we're going to talk about in this episode is how we create player characters, pretty much where the ideas and inspiration comes from, and I guess how they develop over time. So either of you want to start us off?
Well, I guess I have the most experience as a player, I guess, because you guys haven't actually played that many games.
Occasionally, I have maybe a handful of characters who I think are special enough to talk about.
Yeah.
Oh, they're all special.
I mean,
yeah, sure. They're all my babies.
I guess like I guess I'm kind of like that gamer type who always wants to find some niche way of play and like make it happen, like on the tabletop, I guess. So I think for me, it's like I kind of fall in love with like a mechanic, and then I make a character kind of based around it to kind of justify it a little bit. But also, like I'm not too stuck onto like backstories or anything like that, right? So I kind of let the character kind of develop as we play. I'm not. I guess like all my games have been really long running, like full campaign, like maybe from like 1 to 15. Most of my games anyway. So there's a lot of time for that character to kind of develop and become its own thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
So so most of the time your concepts are more focused on less about the character personality and more about the character as a game, like from the gameplay perspective, is what you're saying, or?
Well, no, it's like I kind of make the mechanics influence my personality,
yeah,
and my personality will then influence my player decisions to use those mechanics. Like I think for the most part in my gaming experience, I've played like a spellcaster, so I'm usually the team leader also, and the diplomat. It's very weird how I get into those roles, but I guess it's the group of friends I play with. But I'm always the one making the decisions. Okay. So I'm always the guy kind of in the back being like team captain, calling out those shots or whatever. Okay,
and is that also like reflected in the mechanics of how you set up your character?
Well, yeah, I mean, a good example is like I played, if anyone's familiar with Pathfinder, the witch subclass, that there's a lot of debuffs and stuff like that. So most of the time I'm just sitting in the back and just checking out those debuffs for my team and like playing that kind of support role. I kind of have that vibe of playing that support role, but that kind of influenced my character, so he's a little bit more standoffish, just maybe not so heroic about situations because he's smarter about it.
Yeah, I think that I think like mechanics is something like, for me, it's something that heavily influences the personality of a character. I know some people like to go from, I want to make a character that's like this, they act this way, they do this certain thing. What mechanics allow me to do that? But I think starting from mechanics into a personality is also a good way to go, because how this person operates in this world reflects who they are, right?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you spend all this time training with knives, you better be good with it, stab people in the back.
Exactly, yeah. And what kind of person would be good at stabbing people in the back? What does that say about them as a person, right?
Yeah.
Deanna, do you have any like particular things when it comes to character creation? Do you have any particular niches you want to fit into, or like do you have any particular process for that?
Usually I don't go in with like an idea in mind. I just I look through the different classes, the different the different races. I like reading up on the background of each race, like what they're like, what they look like, all that stuff, and then a character kind of comes together for me, I guess. I don't know. I don't really have an idea when I go in most of the time.
Yeah, that's actually pretty interesting. Like I never really thought of like a race more than just not like it's a bunch of stats or whatever, but like I always assumed that anyone can be anything, right?
Yeah.
But I never came from an idea of where it's like you look at a race and it's like, oh wow, they look like they would be really good at this, so I'm going to choose to be good at this, or even take it to the opposite, right? Because I think like what I noticed is like when you chose to be I forget what the lizard people in Starfinder,
The Vesk.
the Vesk. So when you chose to be a Vesk and you're also a soldier, and it's like that's really playing into the culture of a Vesk, right?
Yeah.
So you went from the cultural aspect of that race, and you just went with it. It's pretty cool. I mean, I don't think I kind of do that with I have this thing with halflings where I just assume that all halflings are these crazy people. So like I think, well, this character that I'm playing on the Renegades of the Drift, Kato, he's a halfling, but he's pretty crazy. I don't know why this character, and I played a game or recently just wrapped up it with my other crew. While I was playing a halfling thief named Tiz, and it's funny, the entire game, we don't really have like a tank person, but Tiz was the tank, but he was like the rogue. But essentially he had this ability where anytime someone made him make a reflex save from like a fireball or a lightning bolt, he was able to go into stealth right afterwards. So he would like hide in the explosion with like a misdirection.
Oh, that's cool.
Right. So then and so I thought that he was going to be this smooth talker kind of individual, but then he just kept at one point we killed something that we weren't supposed to. Like someone actually summoned a Varrock. It's just like a kind of this crazy destruction demon. And when you summon things into the real world, it's like no, they're really there. They're not going to go away. You can't get rid of them by any sort of magic. You have to kill them to get rid of them. And we ended up I ended up single-handedly murdering the thing in one go. So therefore, he took its head. Now he's wearing it as like a hat, and he has become the craziest, scariest assassin of all time because he killed something he shouldn't have.
Yeah, I think that a story like that sort of also reflects like not only character personality coming from the mechanics, but also from gameplay, right? Like they develop over time. Especially when you start off with sort of this like this wide space, like this possibly empty space. As you keep playing and things keep happening, you start to sort of add these incidents onto the personality of the character. Like back when I was playing, you guys know Macy, of course. For our listeners who don't know Macy, she was a human fighter, I believe. Yeah, she was a fighter. Part giant, so she was real tall, but she also had this mace that she threw, and it came back to her, and it was pretty awesome. And I think really her personality kind of developed over time as we played, and her backstory in particular, which I started adding more and more onto, that just sort of came through like as we played, because her thing was that she really wanted to be a hero, and that was kind of like her starting point. And then as we kept going, I kept asking like, why is she that way? Why would she want to be like that? Mm-hmm. And that was just something that like I didn't start with, but it developed over time. And one of my more recent characters, Hirgan, is also sort of like that, especially like the way we started with it kind of being sort of like a randomly generated character. But over time, it's just like as things kept getting added onto him, he sort of developed this magic that was more to do with like water and wind and all that stuff. So it's like he's sort of something related to the sea, and then he ended up being a pirate. Also partially because I stuttered while I was talking, and I think I said me instead of my at some point.
Yes, you did.
So he ended up being a pirate. But yeah, that's just some of those things that like that's also sort of how it like develops over time when you're just making a character.
Yeah, I think it was like one of the first things you actually set in character for that character, and as a DM, that was the best moment because we were nowhere near water. We were just a fresh new character, and all of a sudden you're a pirate, and it was beautiful.
Yeah, I mean, that's just part of the fun of the game. Like, stuff happens and you react to it, and sometimes you absorb it into your character.
Yeah, right. It's cool. It's a cool part about it, and it's kind of fun too, because like you get like you kind of take these characters you play with for I guess like months or days or even like one shots or whatever. You take these personalities and you carry them with you, and like sometimes you kind of think about them as like a separate person, right? You're like, oh man, like sometimes Kato, like the last session we did, or last game we played, when spoilers.
This is don't spoil past episode 3.
Well, it's up on YouTube for you guys to go check out.
Okay.
But something cool really happened.
Oh yeah, I know. Is it that thing?
Yeah, it's something. Somebody got their comeuppance.
Okay, yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yes, that was probably the highlight of that session.
Right, and now, to be fair, I didn't really feel Kato to be that kind of that idea of like he's untouchable, but now he really does feel like he's untouchable.
Yeah, he got real lucky, or more so, the other person got real unlucky.
Yeah. So, but now I just have this idea of Kato being just like he was a little bit reckless, but now he's like, I think he really believes that he can really not get hurt.
Oh, well, that's good news to me, because I got a lot of stuff that can hurt him. Yeah, that's real interesting. I hadn't even thought of this before. Like, I was just approaching this discussion from the point of creating a character from starting with a personality into mechanics, or mechanics into a personality. I hadn't even thought of, until we were talking, how even playing develops the character.
Yeah.
And
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I think that's like a significant like thing because I mean, like, that happens in real life with real people. You develop over time, right?
Yeah.
Except
sure.
actual people have, I mean, I don't want to say backstory for a non-fictional person, but technically.
It's like you've got something to start with, but then depending on what you're raised, the kind of environment you're raised in, the kind of thing you live in, like, you're gonna change.
Yeah.
You're gonna become whoever you are in life, And now I'm getting deep. I don't know.
So deep, bruh. So deep.
Let's just dive right in. Yeah, there's just tons of cool stuff. Like, I guess I don't want to talk about your character, Deanna, but like as your DM, I'm like super excited every time you play this character, Scaldress in our home game. She is actually a really badass swordsman, because like I don't know if anyone else feels it, but because like you're attacking me, I guess, as the GM, you roll a lot of 20s when you're playing Scaldress, like a lot of 20s.
I don't know how that happens, because like I'm really unlucky other times. Like
it is quite insane. Like, you have the craziest luck with Scaldress, which just makes her like so scary to even deal with. But that's awesome, because like she is like supposed to be like this badass swordswoman, right? Like this.
Yeah, and I really like that game too. Like how it started. At least we started with just randomly rolling what our classes that we would get a level in or something.
Yeah. We should really do an episode about the home game.
Oh yeah, totally.
That was pretty cool too.
I'm so happy that you guys love it, because like I had no clue if anyone was gonna have any fun with it.
Well, I really like it. I was gonna say, like, because it gave me, like, I didn't have to come up with where the character was gonna go. It just kind of, like, when I rolled what I rolled, it was like, okay, I'm this now, and that kind of gives me an idea for a story, And
it just kind of happens along that way. All right, yeah. I think we've covered a lot about this topic, like just generating like characters and stuff. Do you guys have anything else you want to add on before we sign off?
Yeah, check out the third episode in the Renegades of the Drift. I think it's called Asteroids and Goblins.
Asteroids and Goblinoids.
And Goblinoids, yes.
Yes, that 3 a.m. titling. Deanna, anything you want to add?
I don't know. No.
Okay. Yeah, I think this is actually a really interesting topic. If you're listening to this on YouTube or whatever platform you have to be on, maybe why not just drop a comment about like your particular favorite player character that you've played, and maybe how you came up with them, and also like how they developed over time. Did the game develop them? Did a bad dice roll or a good dice roll influence them in any way? Just drop a comment about that, or you can hit us up on social media. We're on the Twitter, we're on the Facebook. Just look up WinWithDice. You'll find us there. And yeah, we look forward to hearing from you guys. Just drop any sort of message about like what you would want to see in the future, what kind of topics you want to hear us cover, any games you want us to look at or play, and we will check those out. So now we're gonna sign off. Ramon, say goodbye.
Alright, goodbye guys. Have a good one.
Deanna, drop a goodbye.
Later.
Alright, we will catch you folks in the next episode. Stay tuned to the channel for more gaming awesomeness. See you soon.